Let's go to Emily. She's calling from Little Rock, Arkansas, listens on Sirius XM. Emily, how can we help today?
Well, thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
I'm calling because my husband quit his job of 10 years in February. Since then, he's held down 3 different jobs. He quit the first one, or the one in February, because said he was afraid they was going to fire him due to his age. Now he came up today and said that because of the price of gas, he just doesn't think he's going to keep looking for a job. This is not the first time he's done this, okay? I had to hold down 2 jobs before in the past. I've got PTSD from this, just to let you know. He does have health issues, and he has to have insurance. I'm a Christian, and I feel like he needs to work. He gets angry when I say, just get a job. I don't care what you get, just get a job. Something's better than nothing.
Right.
And I know as a Christian wife I'm supposed to respect my husband, but I cannot respect him.
I'm
Please
so
help.
sorry. Yeah. Oh, that's got to be so tough. And I was just talking with our group here about how hard it is when somebody doesn't do their share in the relationship. So the question, I guess, is how do you have the best chance of him being different when it comes to work? Is that right?
Yes. How do I I try to encourage him. How do I get him to understand that he's sabotaging us as well?
Yeah.
I mean, we're in our 60s. Don't get me wrong, okay?
Right.
Okay. But I can't respect him.
Right. Okay, well, let's start with Jim. Jim, what are you thinking here about a woman, she can't respect the man, he doesn't even want to work?
Yeah. I would actually get him and you to go talk with a moderator. And I would actually go to a male this time. Usually I oftentimes think Jill, I think some of the finest counselors are women, and I tend to go that direction with a lot of people. But I would go to a male and I would share your hurt. And that way you're not talking just face-to-face with him. You've tried that. But I would get the help with someone else and see what they would have to say to that, because I think they could help you get that across to him. Sometimes I find that when a couple is at they're just stopped, if they'll go get some encouraging help, and again, it could be a counselor, it could be your pastor, but somebody that he respects, let them do a little work on him as well, because it's time for him to get back to work. And again, you're right. Whatever he does, he just needs to go get a job. That's something that's meaningful. He's not ready to retire yet. It didn't sound like he has major health issues. So for me, the answer, it may not work, but the very first thing I would do is I would go directly to a counselor, a pastor, someone who could help you think through that process. But I would do it together, not just you going.
Well, hold on. Let's see if we can find that person that would be appropriate in your area. A lot of resources there in Little Rock. I want to send you 2 things. One, I want to send you Every Man's Bible. A lot of women tell us their husbands never read the Bible until they got that one, because it's designed so well for men. And then let me send you The Soul of a Hero that Dave Stoop and I wrote. It really is an invitation to men to become the man God created you to be. God wants you to be a hero. Wants you to be a hero to yourself and your own soul, but then to the others also. But we'll send that to you. Well, I was just thinking, Jim, you and Larry have a history together, and Larry's still with us. And you, talk about this interesting situation of a pastor who needed help.
Yeah. Well, this pastor I respect greatly because he had the courage to get the help. But I remember a phone call I gave to Larry, and I said, Larry, I just got a call from a pastor's wife who her husband had just been caught at church online with pornography. What do you do? And I said, is there any way to help him get into a Every Man's Battle experience? And Larry kind of steered me through that and when and how and when the next one was. And actually, they got on a plane and they went. It was a pretty cool story. And fascinating enough, the man did the work, and he found help and the resources that he needed. He had never heard of New Life, and he had never heard of the book Every Man's Battle, but he went. And his wife also got help because she was talking to other women who were experiencing this. And the long story is that he did the work, and he was fired from his job in the church, and he was driving a bus for a long time. He went back into the church because his story, his pain, became a part of his testimony and became a part of the strength of his relationship with God. People took a gamble, sure. They brought him back into the church, not the same church. And I happened to be, a couple of weeks ago, I was speaking at a church in Oklahoma where his son is. And his son said to me, kind of very emotional, "Thank you so much for my dad's experience, because my dad is a new person." And that's what happens when someone has the courage to go and get the help. And that's the beauty of New Life, is that people can come and get help, and it's transformation. You were talking about giving. This is where it moved me. I give toward transformation. When Kathy and I take a look at who we're going to give to, we give toward ministries that are going to have transformation. And we hear this every day right now at New Life. But that story, I just think it's the most beautiful story. He's a pastor in a church again.
Wow,
he's getting the
he's
help.
been
He's
restored.
in accountability. He's getting the counseling he needs. And this has been a number of years ago. He didn't just, okay, now I'm healed, now I'm going to go back into the church. He needed to work through that process. But he learned accountability. He learned the skills at that event and then continued it in accountability to this day. And look at that, now to the next generation. The Bible talks about we inherit the sins of previous generations, but there's also the transitional generation of making a decision to stop going in that negative way and go in the positive way. And now it's affecting his children and his grandchildren in a positive way. It's a part of his life. How beautiful.
Well, and I'm guessing he really got to what was underneath that was driving this sinful behavior.
Absolutely.
Right?
And
that really helps you then to
Yes.
get past the shame. Just
Yeah.
like with Emily's husband. There's something that's driving him to not want to work.
Yeah,
There's
and-
shame or something
right, and
there.
you have to go through pain. I always say before freedom comes pain. And sometimes we have to face that pain. And
Well-
that's
Yes.
probably what Emily's husband's going to have to do.
Right, exactly.
One word there that you used, Jim, that we pass over too lightly. You said it takes courage, or he had the courage. Now, there are a lot of men that have a problem, and they listen to this program, and they think, I could never do that.
Right.
I could never confess this to my wife,
Right.
whatever you think. And then you miss out on being God's man that he wants you to be. Here, God restored this guy. He's a pastor again. He went through the process. I'm telling you, if you don't have the courage, then you need to get someone on your team that can give you a little bit of a courage booster, that the two of you together could figure out, here's how you're going to make that call. Here's how you're going to open up to your wife. But it really just requires one thing, a willingness to talk to somebody else. Maybe it's not the big thing, the source or the treatment, but it's another person. Help me get help for me. Help me break through my fear. That's what maybe unlocks a lifetime of shame into a whole life of purpose and meaning. And we've been so fortunate, 35 years, to just see it over and over again.